Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the new Samsung Galaxy Fold 3, the device with a starting price of $1,800. If you've landed here because you're looking for a review of the new Flip 3, then I've also done a video on that which you can check out here. But in this video we're going to be focusing on the Fold. These are just my first impressions, so it's not a full review, but hopefully it will give you guys a pretty good sense of whether you want to get one of these. So I've got the 256GB version here with 12GB of RAM, which starts at £1,600 or $1,800, but it does also come in half a terabyte option. So let's open this bad boy up, which, let's be honest, is what you're all here for. It's interesting how they all come unfolded in the case. I guess that's just to protect the screen rather than having them stuck in storage for ages folded. And wow, this thing looks stunning. This is actually the matte black version, or what Samsung call Phantom Black, but the Fold does also come in Phantom Green and also Phantom Silver. And actually all of these colours look awesome. So putting the phone to one side for a moment, obviously we have the instructions, we have a USB-C power cable, but interestingly no power adapter this time from Samsung, which, to be honest, I don't think is great for a phone this expensive, but I do understand for sustainability reasons it's a good thing. So bringing the phone back in, let's just take the plastic off. So this does seem very similar to the previous Fold if I'm honest, but there's a couple of things that are new and worth mentioning, so let's go through those. First of all, starting with the design, it looks like the Fold is now more angular than previously. Much like the Flip, the rounded edges seem to have been ditched in favour of the flatter edges, which just seems to be a more modern design. The phone is also 2mm thinner than the previous generation, and overall just a little bit more compact. But that's not something you're likely to notice unless you really pick one of these up and compare it to the old model. What you probably will notice though is that the hinge doesn't seem to stick out as much, which is a really nice touch. Overall, the design seems a little more refined and subtle, something you'd expect from the third iteration of this model. Speaking of the hinge, this is a definite improvement of the previous model. It feels really well made and a fair amount more stiff. Samsung are actually now calling this armor frame, which I presume means it's now way more durable, and it definitely still has the satisfying click when you close the display. In terms of the outside of the phone, we have a new camera bump design on the back, and on the front we now have an improved larger front display, which apparently is now made from Gorilla Glass Victus, the strongest glass used in smartphones at present. It's also now 120Hz, which is just going to bring the snappiness of the display in line with the large inner display. When it comes to the inner display, let's go there next, as this is another area where Samsung have made significant improvements. We now have a brand new glass material which is stronger and more scratch resistant, the same material that's featured on the Flip, and is supposed to be 80% more flexible and durable than the previous model. It does still have a non-removable plastic screen protector though, so you'll need to be careful with that as it covers a layer of extremely fragile ultra-thin glass. And then there's the crease, which is still visible, and for me it's way more visually distracting on the Fold with a vertical crease versus on the Flip where you have a horizontal crease, which I hardly ever notice. The other thing to mention in relation to the screen is the introduction of the S Pen support for the Fold. Just this very fact implies to me that the screen has become a lot more durable, although with the big caveat that a special S Pen is required. Not to mention you'll probably need to buy the case if you want to carry the pen around with you, although this did come as free as part of my pre-order. In the ideal world, I can see how people who love the Note might like this. But in reality, I really don't think a stylus is optimal with a smartphone. It's just never going to be as accurate as your fingers, and we already have tablets for artists, designers and illustrators. But for people who are panicking about Samsung discontinuing the Note, then this might be exciting for you. Apart from the massive price difference, one of the things that's going to prevent the Fold from being used like the Note is its ability to stand up to the elements over time, its longevity. So it's great that the Fold is now getting closer to some of the key flagship devices in this respect with a new IPv rating. More specifically, Samsung is stating that this is IPX8, meaning the phone will have a degree of water resistance if submerged for very short periods, but will likely have a very limited resistance against dust. So whilst this is impressive and a big step forwards on previous Folds that had problems with small grains of dust causing failures, The long story short is that this phone isn't really suited to being a daily workhorse yet. It's more show than go when it comes to long-term usability. The final thing to mention about the inside screen is a feature which seems to be getting a lot of hype, and that's the new under-display camera. Essentially a hexagon-shaped pixelated area as an attempt to try and conceal the camera. Now while I'm sure this technology will play a big part in future phones, essentially now it's just a gimmick. The photo quality from this camera is not good, and it just seems like you're looking through fuzzy glass. In fact, there's actually an algorithm working in the background to try and defog the photo after you've taken it to compensate for this. As bad as this camera is though, it's worth remembering this is actually the backup selfie camera. The primary selfie camera on the front is still a normal hole punch camera, and the quality is decent. But also if you really want a high quality selfie, you can just unfold the phone and use the front viewfinder. So basically it's not really a problem, and I guess the point is that it's cool because Samsung is pushing the boundaries of what's possible, but without compromising the overall phone experience. Apart from that, there's not many other updates to talk about, apart from some slightly improved triple cameras at the back, but for those looking for dramatic changes in the new Fold 3, you might be disappointed. The core design is very similar, but with some new hardware improvements, as well as a few cool software improvements, including being able to create a fixed dock, and also improved multitasking as well. So in summary guys, ultimately this is a phone that's targeted at enthusiasts and not really everyday users. At $1,800 it's way too expensive for the vast majority of people for what it is, and for that reason I just can't recommend this phone to you. It's more expensive than most laptops, which is just insane if you think about it. I said at the beginning that the question I was hoping to answer with this review is whether the new Fold is worth buying, and my answer based on my initial thoughts is no. There's just far too many compromises for the price, and like the previous Fold models, we know there's likely to be durability issues over time. What I can do though is recommend to you the Flip. If you haven't watched my review of the new Flip phone, then definitely go and check that out, as I have a completely different perspective on that phone. Spoiler alert, it's awesome, and I'll link to that in the description. That being said, I'm really keen to hear what you guys think, so let me know what you think in the comments below and whether you're going to get one of these. Anyway, that's all for now. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time.